one struggle most people deal with in the world today is money. What is happening in the stock market? We are glued to the television. What is happening with inflation? Are we in a recession? My special guest tonight, Chris Graper, is going to fill us in on all of that and so much more. We're excited to have you on the set.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Oh, this is
a lot of fun.
This is a lot of fun, and you're going to make it fun because when we deal with finances, it puts people over the edge. I know a lot of people don't even turn on the television anymore because it's truly a roller coaster.
Oh yeah.
So what is happening in the world today, and how did we get there with this stock market? We don't even know. Crash, up and down. What's happening?
There's been a lot going on this year. A lot of volatility in the market. We've obviously turned on your television or open the newspapers. You're seeing headlines left and right about Fed raising rates or inflation or all sorts of economic conditions going on in the U.S. or the global economy, and so. Right now we're in a digestive time in the stock market where we've had about 10 years of stimulus and lower rates to where you had this ample liquidity, and so a lot of people went on spending sprees, and so when that happens, a lot of demand gets pushed through the economy, and lack of supply causes inflation rates to go up, and so right now the Fed's trying to calm those inflation rates down by taking proactive measures by raising the Fed funds rates. And so what that does is it hopefully tries to slow down the economy. Even though it may sound bad, they have to curb inflation somehow. And so, most recently the inflation rate this past month was 8.6% year over year, which sounds ridiculous because historically it's usually around 2 to 3%.
Right.
And so in order to try to slow that down, the Fed's raising rates to try to stop excess spending, stop borrowing, and hopefully calm down the costs you're seeing at the gas pump, rents, supermarket, and everywhere else.
How sad, though, that really has to happen.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like, oh my gosh, that's the worst in the world. But it actually has to happen, or we indeed will be in a recession.
Right. And they have to do it very delicately to make sure that they don't cause an earnings recession. And you're hearing the recession term thrown around a bunch right now, and actually, technically, you probably heard President Biden talk about recession.
Right.
Because technically, the definition of recession is 2 quarters of negative GDP, which we've had as of the first half of this year.
Right.
Where normally recessions are caused by earnings recessions, meaning earnings are taking a hit, where that's not happening right now.
Right.
So this recession was caused by essentially the dollar being too expensive and doing too well, to where now it's more expensive for foreign buyers to buy our exports, and so people aren't buying our exports anymore. We're getting this surplus inventory glut, to where now that's what's caused the negative GDP is the surplus exports, because people around the world aren't buying our exports anymore, and so.
Right. That's a big hit.
It's a big hit.
It's a huge hit, and everybody is impacted by that. Everybody.
Oh, yeah.
You talked about the inflation rate. You said it's at 8.5,
8.6 right now, year over year.
8.56.
And so there's a core inflation, and there's the normal inflation, which you're hearing every day, which includes gas and food, but core inflation includes everything else.
Right, because we briefly talked on the phone just to meet and greet, and you were talking about people that live on a fixed income, because there's a lot of people out there that have a Social Security check. They don't have investments. They don't have a lot of money that they can rely on, and their check doesn't go up as much as the inflation rate goes up. How do they deal with that?
Right. So kind of the basics of financial planning, you might have heard this before, is that you have a 50% of your check that you get, whether it's Social Security or something that if you're still working and you're earning, 50% goes to things that you need. Then you have 30% that goes to things that you want, and then 20% is supposed to go to savings. That's kind of the golden rule of how to cash flow plan with financial planning.
If they have a good financial advisor.
Yeah,
they
we
don't.
get a little bit more in depth with that of cash flow analysis, but that's kind of the basics. And so with this inflation rate so sky high, people are spending more on the things that they need, have less money for the things that they want, and even less money for the things that they want to, or the money that they want to save every year
Right.
towards retirement.
So then you just have to save less. That's the only answer.
You save less, or
'Cause you don't have it.
you save less, or you make cuts. You buy
Smaller
non-brand
house.
name
Right.
items that you want. You smaller house. You may not go out and buy the purse that you want or the watch that you want anymore. Whereas in the years past, because we had the stimulus and all these low rates that you could borrow at low costs, you could buy whatever you wanted. And so now we're kind of paying the price for that.
So basically what you're saying is live within your means, whatever that means is now,
Right.
and deal with your wants, not your wants, your needs.
Prioritize your cash
Prioritize
flow.
your
Correct.
cash flow. Exactly.
Right, and then also there's you kind of want to have a safety net built into your finances, right? So another rule of thumb with financial planning is that if you're in a dual income household, we recommend having at least 3 months of living expenses covered just as a safety net nest egg in your checking or savings account because you have dual incomes, and so if for some reason the husband or the wife or whoever loses their job, you'd still have the other income of the other spouse, and you'd have another 3-month cushion to help supply living expense needs
Right.
while the other person's trying to find their job. If you're in a single income household, the rule of thumb is 6 months, so just double it.
Right.
And so but if you're in retirement or if you're living on fixed income when you're older, you want to make sure that you have that nest egg built out further so that when you run out of the 3 months or 6 months because you're just living on your cash flow,
Right.
that you stagger your investments. So you have, in your retirement accounts, you have those invested the most aggressive because those are the last assets you're going to touch. In your
Right.
IRAs, your 401ks, things like that. In your cash and your savings, obviously it's in cash, but you can also invest in short-term fixed income or money markets or corporate bonds, things of that nature. And those are less volatile than stocks. And so you kind of build a runway of your cash flow need by, if you need money now, you're pulling it from your checking or savings, but when that gets low, you sell off some of the corporate bonds of the money market or short-term instruments that are less volatile. And when that gets low, you start to trim off some of the more volatile positions that are riskier, like the equities that you hear from. And you just have this kind of waterfall effect. And so if your roof caves in and you got to go buy a new roof for your house, you don't have to sell off a bunch of stock. You have kind of a nest egg to dig into.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about these daily and monthly fluctuations in the market.
I love that.
That
I mean,
de-stresses you.
Right. And having a financial advisor to guide you through this, because sometimes it can be overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
Overwhelming. And that's where
It's a
you
big
come
puzzle.
in. It's a big puzzle.
That
Yes.
dorks like me like to do.
I love it. You're not a dork. There's a lot of people that know that the financial world is going to go up and down. And we all know that every 10 years, every 12 years, whatever it is. But for those people that are closer to the retirement age,
Yep.
and they are depending on all of these different funds to supplement their income, or not live on it, but supplement it. It is, most people have 10, 12, 15 years to bounce
Right,
back.
right.
For those people that are closer to retirement and are depending on that money, how do you advise?
Well, as you get closer and closer to retirement, you should be more and more conservative. It really all depends on the situation and the person's their time horizon, their risk tolerance, their liquidity needs. There's all these different factors that take place in trying to assess someone's financial needs and how they should be appropriately allocated. And so, it really depends on the situation. I'd tell them to seek out someone for advice, a professional like myself or someone else in their area that they know of, and do a financial plan for them or a retirement plan.
Right, because nothing's impossible.
Yeah, there's not a
Like
one.
even if you're closer to it, and the stock market's just
Oh, yeah.
crazy, and your 401k is bouncing,
I would say
yeah.
touch base with a financial advisor like myself or a retirement professional,
Right.
because there's not a one
Fix all.
thing fix all or a perfect portfolio to put together to be able to save enough for retirement or go throughout retirement successfully.
Right.
So
So get some financial advice.
Get some financial
That's what I
advice.
say. So that leads into our next question. There are so many different vehicles of investment out there. We talked about mutual funds, the exchange traded funds, the ETFs, and then the SMAs. Can you break that down for us?
yes, so financial advisors like myself or other retail investors out there have access to a lot of different products. And so
This is diversified, though, right?
outside of just your stocks and bonds that you hear about on a daily basis,
Right.
or more popular to speak about, you have mutual funds, exchange traded funds, and those are very similar. As that they're pooled investments where they, one fund will buy a bunch of different stocks.
Right.
And so the main difference between the two is that an ETF trades throughout the day just like a stock, whereas a mutual fund trades at the end of the day at a set price.
Okay.
Another big differentiator is that mutual funds have a certain amount of cash they have to hold in the fund for redemptions. And so typically in bull markets, that will cause a little bit of a performance lag versus an ETF. Another difference is that ETFs typically are more passively invested, where they're kind of mirror a benchmark that you want to follow, whereas mutual funds are a little bit more actively traded. And because of that, they're a little bit more expensive. They have a little bit more higher internal costs and fees from that mutual fund company.
Okay.
And then separately managed accounts are ways that, if financial advisors like myself don't want to actually do the stock picking and mutual fund picking and bond picking, then they have access to professional portfolio managers that they outsource or hire to manage the investment account.
Okay. So I love that you kind of broke all this down. Like, lots of times we have guests and it is like Roman. You broke it down, easy to understand, in all these different avenues of how, an investment should be, helping us understand our money and what's happening, and also understanding what's happening in the country with, the stock market and inflation, right? So you are amazing. We hope you come back.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh my
I really
gosh.
enjoyed this.
You were amazing. Thank you so much. Chris Graper, one of the leading financial advisors, giving you the skinny on how to maintain your wealth, how to keep your wealth, how to grow your wealth, and how to not be stressed out in this crazy economic environment.
If you are in the fashion, art, or entertainment industry and would like to be a guest on The Deborah Kennedy Show, just go to DeborahKennedyShow.com and you could be a guest just like me.
My favorite and your international chef is right on the set with us tonight, the amazing Arman.
Deborah.
Dash.
Mwah, mwah,
Dash. Dash.
mwah. Dash, it's German.
Dash. We have been friends for
Almost 10 years
10
now.
years now, and it's a great little story, but we just connected and became best friends, and
Best
here we
friends
are,
and
hanging
cooking
out
together,
together,
learning
cooking together.
together.
So he is our chef that comes up with something new and different every single time. So I challenged him this time to come up with something that we've never done before.
So we did.
So we did, and it is monkfish. He sent me a picture of it, and I must say, I was a little scared.
It's a little ugly. It's ugly fish. It's
Right.
it looks like a catfish almost. So,
It's real ugly.
but it tastes like lobster. That's the hidden secret. So people really don't know a lot about monkfish, but we're gonna try it today, and everybody's gonna love it.
It's a poor man's lobster, you
Yeah,
said.
it's poor
Sounds
man's
like,
lobster.
I'm in for that, and easier to prepare.
Easier to prepare. You don't have bones. You don't have
Right.
bones in the fish, and you don't have to worry about taking it out of a shell. And it's not a shellfish either, so there's no allergies.
So, mwah.
Yes.
So I'm just going to say, as we talk about, we're doing this risotto, right? It's a creamy risotto.
Yeah, we're going to start with a creamy risotto. And risotto takes about 25 minutes or so to cook. So we pre-started this on the set. We started with some fresh garlic, some butter, some olive oil, and we brought that to a simmer, threw our risotto into it, and made it kind of pop. So it just breaks the risotto open. And then as it starts to simmer, you have to keep adding liquids to it. So you can choose whether you want to add white wine, you can use chicken base, you can use beef or vegetable base, and water, because it just keeps absorbing that water. And we're also making it without meat right now because I prefer to do it that way. You just don't want to over stir it. You want to keep adding the liquid so it doesn't get gummy and glutinous. But it's a gluten-free rice.
Right. I love it. I love risotto. It's easy.
So while Deborah's doing that, I'm going to start over here with our monkfish. So what we're going to do is get a little bit of olive oil in our pan. It's already preheated. And we're going to add some butter, because we love to add butter to everything here.
It's you. We're in the South.
That's right.
Butter makes it so
That's
good,
right.
right?
So we're going to add some butter, and we're going to add, Deborah, you can put a little bit of white wine in here for me too.
Love
Would be
to,
great.
Arman.
Just a little splash. We'll try not to drink it while we're doing it. That's going to give it a nice little stir. take
It's
it
getting
off.
hot up in
I
here.
know, it's getting hot in here. We're gonna
Whoa!
take that down a bit.
A little flame. I like it.
We're gonna add a little lemon juice, calm that down.
Calm it down.
There we go. And now we're gonna add some of our garlic. You don't have to be quite that dramatic at home if you don't want to be.
But I did like it.
It was nice.
I like it when there's a flame.
I know. And then we've got our monkfish tails right here. And this is the best part of the fish, is the tails. You can also use the cheeks. And it's a cold water fish, so it grows from, get it in the Atlantic from Canada to North Carolina.
I'll put a little cream in mine.
And we're gonna add one of these tails at a time here.
Okay.
And we're gonna put the meaty side up. You can see the bottom's got a little bit of a red piece to it, like this little vein.
Right.
But this is a boneless fish, so you don't have to worry about getting little bits and pieces of bone in your teeth like you might with salmon, or you might with some other fish like sea bass and stuff. So we're going to season this, a little bit of citrus seasoning, Provence herbs.
Just, you get the premix. You mix some. Or
Yeah, no, you can pre-mix it or you can mix it yourself. I kind of mix stuff up myself. And then you just want to get all that in there. And we made a mess of our set, Deborah.
Okay, I know.
You and me, we're good at that.
Yeah.
And then she's going to keep working on the risotto over here. So as we continue to move, we're going to add some more white wine, some water. And then as this gets ready to be done, we're going to finish it with cream and Parmesan cheese.
I did add a little creme already.
You did, that's okay. Deborah, I'll never tell you did anything wrong.
You have all my secrets, babe.
So now we're going to turn this flame up just a little bit so we can get it to cook. This takes about 10-15 minutes on average. Depends on the size of the tail. This is a 6 to 8 ounce tail. So they're really good meaty pieces. And that's what gives it that lobster kind of flavor to it, because it's a nice meaty, not fishy fish.
So I think that monkfish has a little bit more of a taste, because I feel like lobster, unless I put a lot of lemon or butter on it, it doesn't even have that much taste.
Exactly, it doesn't have any taste. And that's why
Right.
people smother it with butter.
Right.
Or some pora or something else. You can
Whatever.
prepare this any way you prepare a lobster. You can make a salad out of it. You can do just about anything you do with a lobster. It's just easier because it's less prepping. You want to make sure you get a nice golden brown on it before we flip it over.
And so what you want to do is just have a light crisp to it.
A light crisp
And
to it.
take the red away.
Exactly. And we're going to use a trusty pan here as a lid just to cover it up for a minute
I love
and get
it.
some of that steam in it.
Okay.
And now you can see our risotto over here with Deborah is getting to the point where it's almost finished. So we can
Almost.
add some, a little bit more salt to this.
Let me do it. Let me do it.
Oh, go ahead,
I'm
do
a
it.
chef.
A pinch of salt.
Just a pinch.
And the risotto takes, you need a little bit of salt with it.
Where's yours? Pepper.
Pepper? It's all mixed together right here.
Yeah, we
Add
don't-
both.
Okay.
And then I've got some fresh oregano you can add to that too. You can just take those scissors and cut it up and add it to the center of it.
Should I do my creme first?
Yeah, just add that last. And just make sure you only do the leaves. So now we're going to take this. And you can also use a fish spackle to this. Spatula. Thank you, Deborah. I forget sometimes what I'm doing in here. And now we got a nice little golden brown to the bottom. And we're going to, the other side's probably going to get a little browner than this because I've got the heat up more now.
In fact, it does look like lobster.
It does. It really
It
does.
looks like it even. Has the texture.
Mm-hmm.
Same look. Same.
And we're going to add some lemon to this as well.
Let me cut
We're going to do a little bit of zest. And then we're going to have some for garnish over here too. So you just get a zester of any kind that you like to use. This is more like a grater. But you just shake off all your zest and get that on there because it's going to give it that nice lemony flavor. And then save your lemons afterwards so you can use them for something else.
So I'm going to say we have all of your great segments on our YouTube, the Deborah Kennedy channel on YouTube. But I haven't cooked in forever. So I've kind of lost my touch of cooking.
Well, you can go back and check them out.
That's what I've been doing. So in order to really, refresh myself on some cooking, because you make it so easy, like 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like I'm a chef when I watch those tutorials. But that's what I've been doing because I'm kind of interested in doing a little cooking now. And your tutorials are so easy to follow, and they're simple 4 and 5 ingredients.
And most of the meals we're preparing are for 2 people. So you can make a nice romantic dinner, a dinner for you and the girls, cut up some of this monkfish in smaller pieces.
Right.
Make a nice salad with it too.
I like it. But thank you for always.
But being able to go back and look at all the different recipes, there's so many things we've done on the show throughout the years.
Oh my gosh, we've been doing it for. This is our 20th anniversary
Of the
on the
been
show.
on the show
I
since.
was telling everybody it's been 15 years or 14 years or 16. It's my director said it's been 20 years, Deborah. I said, oh my God, time flies when you're having fun.
Right. Now we don't want to add any more liquid to that. We want to just let that finish off, and we're going to add the cheese to it. And this we're getting close to being finished on this. Once I'm done with the fish, what I'm going to do is actually add let me check my heat here. Here's the flame. We're going to take the fish out, and we're just going to add the spinach to this. And that's going to help pick up all the flavors of the fish, the lemon, and the olive oil and everything together. So as you can see, the brown liquid on the bottom, the brown butter as we call it, it's starting to get a nice brown look to it. So you can use this as a sauce over it. And it's cooking down and simmering while it cooks.
All right, Chef Arman, tell me what I should put my cheese in.
I'd say go ahead and add the cheese, Deborah. So we're starting to get a nice brown on the other side of this now. And as I said earlier, there's just not a lot of ingredients in this.
That's why we love you.
Yeah, because it just makes it a little easier when you're making a dinner that you're not having to bring out everything from the pantry. And of course we break everything down in portion size here, so it makes it a little easier for you. The last thing I'm going to add to this is the cilantro just before the fish is finished, so we can top it. Just because I like to have a fresh herb on top. And cilantro goes great with your fish. So you can see we got a nice golden brown texture on here now, Deborah. So now we know the fish is just about done. And this will be a little pink on the inside, but not like a salmon or anything like that.
You want it pink on the inside?
Not really. You want to make sure it's cooked through. So it's white, but it has a slight pink hue to it.
Oh, okay. So okay, I will have a bite from the end.
Yeah, it's definitely, because it's a big piece of fish.
This looks so pretty, but I'm going to do my little part.
And look at that, Deborah. Risotto looks great. So we're going to take this out, the smaller one right here. You're going to put some risotto right next to that with this spoon. And I'm going to take this piece out and set it right here, which is also done. And now we're going to head and add our spinach to this.
I'm going to turn this down.
And Deborah, you can give me just a splash of white wine in here too.
Absolutely. One of my favorite things.
So this is about a bag of spinach. Or, that's good. It's about a bag of spinach, or equal to 4 cups. The spinach breaks down a lot when you're cooking it. So you don't have to take all these stems off because it's really just going to break down and just be a beautiful.
And you use your all juice just for
You just use
base.
the same juice as the base. So
It
it's got,
gives it so much flavor.
you've already got tons of flavor from the brown butter that we just prepared. What we're going to do is just move this over a little bit. I'm going to cut a little bit more of the fresh oregano on top of this. And you see how quickly this breaks down. It doesn't take long at all.
No. This is a good 15 minutes. This is good.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect. Your prep time is probably about 20, 30 minutes getting everything together, and then the meal just pops out fast like this.
And it looks like you are an international chef.
Yeah, so
but at home, it can look like.
it looks like you're in a
International
5-star
chef.
restaurant
Right,
here.
exactly.
So we're going to put some spinach right here on the plate. And see how it's got that nice color to it?
Oh, this is beautiful. Look how plated. Look how beautiful plate.
Ah, that's just a beautiful
this
plate.
is beautiful.
We're going to go ahead and shut this off.
I'll shut mine off.
There we go. And then we can just kind of recap everything we've done here. So we
started with pre-risotto, because it takes about 30 minutes, so we started early with just prepping that. We put in here
we had olive oil, garlic, lemon, and some white wine to start. We broke the kernels on it, so to speak, and then started adding liquid. So, and like I said, you can't walk away from risotto, otherwise you're going to have a burnt piece of pasta, or rice rather. So it'll be a big rice cake. So this is broken down nicely. Then we kept adding white wine and water.
Or you can do broth if you don't want wine.
You can use chicken broth, vegetable
or
broth.
water, right. Gives it flavor.
Then we added some cream just to richen it up. And then we added the Parmesan cheese. And then to finish off with the monkfish, the poor man's lobster,
Poor man's lobster.
it is brown butter and sage. So we've got sage, citrus, and then we have a little bit of fresh oregano just to top this with. We were going to put it in the pan, but we'll just add it to it, just to give it a little bit of flavor. And then we seared that. That took about 10 minutes or so. Added the spinach to it, finished it off, and now we've got a perfect dish to taste.
This is beautiful. So we do a tasting?
You got a little fork right there. You know we got to taste it.
All right. And I love it. He's my man.
So
Always
Deborah
cuts it
wants
up.
me to take the piece of meat from the end, and you can see this is a great. You gotta help me with the knife, Deborah. There we go. So we don't want to give Deborah too big a piece of meat here, but just go ahead and try this. It's delicious.
Oh,
And then I'll go ahead and try this risotto for her.
Arman.
Perfect, Deborah.
Oh my gosh. Give me a bite of risotto.
You gotta have some. And you can taste the cheese, the cream, the wine. You can taste all the flavors in it together. It's perfect.
This is amazing. Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
You won't want to stop eating it once you start.
I can't. Monkfish, who would ever think it could be so beautiful? But International Chef Arman does it all with
Let
his
me get Deborah's little lip here.
beautiful palette of taste and how creative you are. How amazing you are.
Thank you.
are. Thank you for always stopping by the set. You can check out all of his videos on our YouTube channel, The Deborah Kennedy Show. But Arman I'm kidding, is an international chef, and we are so excited to have him here cooking it up for us tonight, and you can do it at home too.
Always a pleasure.
To view this entire episode or to view other past episodes, please visit our podcast site at DeborahKennedyShow.com. You can view the complete episodes right on the website or subscribe to the show via iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. Thanks for watching.
If you are in the fashion, art, or entertainment industry and you would like to be a guest on the Deborah Kennedy Show, go to www.deborahkennedyshow.com and you can be a guest just like me.